You've heard me here, Stugotz, for a few years now, talking about how it's going to be really fascinating to see how some of your favorite sports media members age as the entire landscape shifts. It becomes a meritocracy. Now the athletes are coming for the podcasts. And so how are the media members that you're used to, whoever they are, Skip Bayless at 70, Stephen A. Smith at 56, Colin Cowherd, 60, Jim Rome in his 60s, me last segment. What's it going to sound like
last year
when these people age poorly? That's how it's going to sound. But Skip Bayless at 70 now is trying to keep up in a very competitive game. I just found uproariously wonderful and funny the thing that has now blossomed between Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless, where ESPN and Fox are trading Michael Irvin and Keyshawn Johnson for Shannon Sharp. And now the argument shows are going to go against each other. And Skip's got to keep up with Stephen A. Stephen A., watch him closely because that dude's a conqueror. And he's already creating something outside of ESPN just in case some falls apart. He's talking a lot about
backup plan.
I might be next, and he's just building his own thing, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be different. Skip tried to get in podcasts. It's not working. Stephen A. has gotten in. It is working. Stephen A., that used to be Skip's show. Skip brought in Stephen A. They are friends. Stephen A. just took the guy that was made by Skip after Stephen A., Shannon Sharp, just took it. And Skip Bayless's answer is, I'm going to pour tequila and rum and whiskey together. They're all good by themselves. And let's see if we make a giant explosion. And yesterday they did, because Skip Bayless either they made the mistake or had the genius of putting Richard Sherman, Michael Irvin, and Keyshawn Johnson in his studio for his first show back after 2 months off, when there are anonymous quotes, Stugotz, coming out of Fox that Skip Bayless was afraid of Nick Wright disemboweling him, didn't want a serious debate, didn't want somebody who would make him look bad or worse than he does as the face of hater, critic, media member for all time, I think. I think Skip Bayless has pioneered that he is the greatest hater of this toxic age of judging the hell out of the athletes. Hey, LeBron, yeah, second place all time. You choker. He is the face of this, and what he has decided to do, and this part's fascinating to me. Every athlete he's been killing and crushing for 20 years sits next to him now, and they want the mic, and they want the ball. Michael Irvin's in trouble. Michael Irvin's competitive. That's 3 generations of the loudest loudmouth in football. 3 of them. Keyshawn, Richard Sherman, and Michael Irvin. Holy Skip, they're going to take your show. And that's not a terrible way to evolve at 70 if he's willing to be the joke, if he's willing to not take himself seriously and just allow the floor to a bunch of people who are really good at television. Like Michael Irvin, say what you want. He can be on any channel. Now, NFL Network doesn't know if they want to put him on any channel because there are all sorts of dangers involved. But no one on television has the resume of just apocalyptic scandal away from football. Like just stuff, being famous for bringing in a golden age of Jerry Jones, 90s football. Cowboys are scary. They're in your face. He comes from the University of Miami. He's been great at television always, and he keeps getting chances that you wouldn't normally get if you weren't great at television. And yesterday, he stole that show. Just stole it. Getting up from his chair, yelling at Richard Sherman, and that's what he is now, Skip Bayless, is going against, and it's To have 3 Shannon Sharps there is hard, Stugotz. Now, that was just one day. That's not how they're going to do it, I would imagine. It was just
one day. And I think Rachel Nichols is also in the mix as well. We discussed that yesterday. But you think Skip Bayless is going to be okay with this? Like, you think this is the heel turn for Skip at the end of his career?
I don't think he knows what he just welcomed. I don't think that he understands. He told Keyshawn Johnson yesterday, you talk too much. And Keyshawn said to him, you didn't just say that to me. That's the first show. Keyshawn's... Of the 3 that they're putting up there, I would rather have on my side as television personalities Richard Sherman and Michael Irvin. And Michael Irvin is a television personality in sports for all time. Like, whether you like him or not, he steals shows. He's willing to make a fool of himself and be really loud at a time that the greatest currency is, can you get attention? Millions of views yesterday for a show that nobody's watching in real time. They're watching it in clips. I mean, some people are watching it in real time, but to get millions of views is how Skip stays in the game. He's got Lil Wayne doing the intro song to what it is that they're doing on Undisputed. He took No Mercy. I thought that was Stephen A's podcast, No Mercy. Did Stephen A change the name of his podcast? Because Lil Wayne is, why is there no mercy around the sports commentary? What are we doing?
No mercy, Dan. Come on.
The classic no situation. You know what I mean? The N-O versus the K-N-O-W. That's what Stephen A has, is the K-N-O-W mercy. Lil Wayne is no mercy. N-O. Say it's like 2-2-2. We don't need to get into this.
What are you guys thinking about all of this?
Well, I'm thinking Skip Bayless is not happy with the first show. He might be happy with the views, but I think Skip plans on going out being Skip. I don't think he wants to share the microphone that much with anyone. Now he's doing it with three guys who are very, very good at this, but I don't think Skip wants to be made fun of. I think Skip still has plenty of hot takes to give. I think Skip wants to be the guy that dominates that show and will be the guy that dominates that show. Otherwise, he will get one of them fired. I believe that. I'm serious. It's Skip's show. I mean, he's the greatest ever at it, him and Stephen A.
I wonder what the show meeting was like off air after the first show, because
I'm certain he complains.
He, of course he did. And 4 is one too many, right? Like, why do they need Keyshawn Johnson? Like, 4 is too many. That's the first thing I would say if I were Skip. And the second thing is, Michael, I want you to be you. I love the bombast. Keep standing up out of your chair. Do whatever you have to do. But I need to be more a part of this show. I just have to be. You know, I don't need to dominate, but I don't want to be a moderator who barely speaks on my own show. So I think the second show is going to be the one that's interesting, and it's going to say a lot.
It's going to be all Skip.
Skip
debating Skip.
Right. That is today. But let me ask you the real question, because these people are very competitive, Stugotz, and it's hard to keep up. It really is. For Skip Bayless to still be doing it at 70, you almost have to be the hater who knows how to get attention, because that's the lane that he chose.
Sure.
And is still relevant in that lane. As his own executives are being quoted anonymously saying, Skip is no longer in charge here. Stephen A is Skip's daddy, was the quote. The quotes coming from his own building are the word disembowel if he were to compete with Nick Wright in real arguments, not the performative wrestling stuff that this is. Skip Bayless, for better or worse, represents, Stugotz, the face that athletes think of when there's the media. They're not on my side. They're haters. They're not here to celebrate anything over the last 20 years. They're here to figure out how to blame me so they can make $1 debating it. He's the face of that.
I know he is, and he takes a great amount of pride, I believe, in being that face, and I don't think he's just going to let that go. Like, do you think he's going to let that go at age 70?
I don't think he knows what he's welcomed here. It's not.
I think he knows.
But he just ran off Shannon Sharp, Stugotz. That was a partnership that could have kept working, and Shannon Sharp didn't like the treatment.
Yeah, but Skip is a smart guy, Dan.
Yeah.
Like, he knows putting 3 people in there, he's going to talk less. I don't think he expected what he experienced yesterday, but he knows he's going to talk less. Naturally, he's putting 3 guys in there, 3 guys with big opinions.
You guys sound silly. You think Skip has lost a step?
I don't.
Let me tell you what he said today. Trey Lance's ceiling is higher than Dak. This was a steal of a deal for Jerry, and I applaud it. That's one take. Then also, Skip remains very high on Baker Mayfield. You guys think that this is done for
It's a great take, yeah.
You guys are fools. How do you think that this is going to end for him?
The question I guess I'm posing before all of you is, the victory is attention, correct? That's now the measurement. The measurement is, can you figure out at the trough where everyone's competing? Paul George's got a great podcast. Cameron's got a great podcast. Everybody is competing for this space. How do you get attention? Do you realize that when you're getting millions of views on social media, you are 10 times the numbers that these shows do on television, on linear television? These shows do 300,000, 400,000 people. When Michael Irvin stands up and the argument in August is about how to catch a football. They made like minutes and minutes of television with Richard Sherman and Michael Irvin just yelling at each other on the extremes of the proper way to catch a football. That was the clip that's
Did
where
you tape the episode?
No, because it's the clip that went viral, Stugotz. Millions of people saw Skip Bayless like Homer Simpson retreating into the bushes on his own show because Michael Irvin is standing up using the whole space to yell at the camera.
But he can't debate that, Skip. Even Skip cannot debate the proper way to catch a football. I mean, that's why you have Michael Irvin.
My point is when two guys can get that passionate arguing for 6 minutes about something, it's not Skip Bayless's place anymore. He's gotten bumped out.
Oh, my Satan. Now we're not just debating sports. We're debating debate about sports. Oh, I don't know what's going on with you, but I like it. It's a family trauma.
Do you find anything interesting about yesterday's? These are the industry standards. Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith speak for a generation of media types.
It's all the circus. I don't really have strong thoughts on it. I think it's funny if you have an entertaining clip on mute, which is how I experienced that with Michael Irvin talking about hand catches versus body catches. I didn't even have to listen with the sound on. I was on an airplane, and I found it entertaining. And that's what daytime television is all about. It's about getting metrics on social media now that they can sell against. It's about being in the conversation. I think they made a good hire in terms of getting that kind of attention. But I also know Skip doesn't like being boxed out. And I kind of agree with Greg that you probably don't need Keyshawn Johnson.
Was Skip Bayless not aware of Michael Irvin's personality, of what he was signing up to put on his air? Michael Irvin is going to be Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin has to allow Bayless to have more of Bayless's show, right? I mean, seriously, Skip needs to ask Michael for permission to talk more. I mean, that's what has to happen right now.
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.